Hey there, JeepSpeed fans. Mark Camaraderie coming to you from Orange, California, standing in front of the Jeep that I campaign in the 1700 class. That's enough about me today. What I want to do is introduce you to one of our exceptional JeepSpeed drivers. So sit back, listen to their story. Thank you very much.
Mark Murrell here with Fire Guys Racing. I drive the JeepSpeed 1788 Wrangler. Always had a passion for Jeeps. Growing up in the corn and soybean country of Illinois, somehow I had that Jeep gene in me. Always liked Jeeps from as far back as I can remember, and the passion for racing. 1982, college buddy Will Warren and I went to the mid 400. Didn't realize there's this whole other Jeep culture of go fast Jeeps. Besides my 73 CJ5, or my first car was a 57 CJ6. So that opened up a whole new world, experiencing that Mint 400 as a spectator in 1982. Will and I worked checkpoints for the next 22 years, probably, just our way of being able to help out at races and be involved. Then Gary Helming, my good friend and co-worker in 2005, he was from Southern California. We're working in Western Colorado then, and both had a passion for racing. And so it's like, hey, let's pool our resources, go together and go racing. We didn't have the talent to race dirt bikes. We were looking at the economical ways to go racing, class 11. So did a little research, one popped up, it was a proven car. None of us knew anything about Volkswagens, but that began my learning curve and our learning curve of racing. I bought that from Scott Pellerin. He entered it into 2005 Prim 300 and taught us how to drive it. He drove the first lap. We took turns riding, turned it over to us for the second lap, and somehow we ended up winning. The other 5 or 6 class 11 guys were shaking their head like, that ain't right. We didn't buy the race car at the Jeep and learn how to drive it, and just luck was on our side. We ended up winning. So we raced that at the Baja the next year, and then I bought Gary's half of the car out, and I continued to race it with a whole lot of help from Mike Sims and Simcoe and James Vigil from Glenwood Springs, Colorado, and they raced their own class of late eights and got me to the races, and did that for a year or two and into class 11 and got established with that. And for the next 10 years in that class 11, raced off and on, mostly Snore, won a points championship with Snore in that thing, learned how to drive a very limited vehicle and learned how to make it survive races. Well, some of them had a lot of DNFs in those days. But that gets us to 2015. I was talking in Chandler, Arizona. We had a class 11 short course race, talking to fellow class 11 and JeepSpeed racer Dave Bowles, 3 amigos, and kind of educated me on, hey, over the course of a year, financially, racing a JeepSpeed is not more expensive than a class 11. A lot of prep and a lot of engine transmission changes in a class 11 over the course of a year, as well as every other part on that car that managed to break it. So it got me thinking, and Dave helped me out with finding the Jeep that I bought in 2015 and currently race. Got it from Mike Barnett's shop, JeepSpeed shop in Anaheim, and pretty awesome. Entered it in the 2016 Mint 400, first race with that, and had good success with it for the first few years. We got a lot of podiums and had a lot of fun, and that fit my driving style. Having that magic 4-wheel drive lever that class 11s don't have, it made it easier for sure, as far as being able to just race and drive any course, knowing that 4-wheel drive was a huge advantage. And sure enough, it really was no more expensive over the course of a year than the class 11. So kind of fell into my original passion of Jeeps. It is 98 Wrangler, pretty cool. We live here in Grand Junction, Colorado, close to Moab, and we've got, my wife and I own a 98 Wrangler, the Moab Jeep, that's built about the same. Kind of cool to have interchangeable parts. The neat thing with 1700 class in JeepSpeed is limited class, a lot of stock parts that are easy to come by, and a few special go fast parts for sure. I raced it this year, 2023. We did the King of the Hammers with it. I had gone to King of the Hammers for the last 10 years or so as a spectator or helping out the Lovell brothers in their racing effort and their Ultra 4. So when I heard kind of last minute with all the schedule changes this year that JeepSpeed was going to King of the Hammers, it's like, man, I'm there. I'll be there anyway. So fun course, the desert course for sure. I had a good time. Jeep survived and drove it onto the trailer after the race, which was always nice. Didn't break it, didn't DNF it. Future racing that thing, that's probably it for 2023. I'm retired and plenty of time now, but entry fees are another thing, as well as prepping the Jeep and getting it ready. So I'd like to race it more. Hopefully next year, 2024, definitely want to do Vegas to Reno. That's the one DNF this Jeep has in, I don't know, 13 races or so. So it's been very reliable, dependable. But DNF to Vegas to Reno a couple years ago, so I want to put that on the calendar for 2024 and hopefully more races next year with any luck. So kind of the race goals at this point is have fun. That's always been the goal at this level of being a hobby, and a lot of time, a lot of money invested by all of us. Just you gotta have fun doing it. So we were fortunate enough to win 2017 Baja 1000. That was the first year, I believe, that SCORE recognized JeepSpeed as its own class as opposed to racing class 3. So that was cool to win that 2017 Baja 1000, and last year 2022 Nora 1000. We took the JeepSpeed down there and had an awesome time. Such a fun race over the course of 5 days and 1,200 miles. So that's kind of the pinnacle, I guess, as far as I'm concerned, with winning the 2 big Baja races in our class and getting back to JeepSpeed next year, hopefully. Racing prep here in my congested garage, it's a challenge, but it is what it is. We're slowly go through it and in between races, and I've got a sign that says winning starts here that's in the garage, and just a reminder that you got to take the time to prep it, and you got to start the race with it in as best condition it can be. Adversity in racing, you think back to pretty much every race has some adversity. Some folks say if it was easy, everybody would do it, but I think if it was easy, a lot of us wouldn't do it. We're here for the challenge. We know it's not easy. We know there's going to be adversity. We know things are not going to go right as soon as, well, even before the green flag drops. A lot of problems just getting to races at times. So definitely a sport, a motorsport that very unpredictable. Things change all the time, and that's kind of what the challenge is, what makes it fun for sure. But the 2017 Baja 1000, thinking back at some of the issues over the years that I've had with race vehicles, and that was a classic one where we're cruising along, middle of the night in Baja, pitch black out, Jeep just shuts down everything. Electrical, motor, just got off the course and coasted to the pitch black. Got the flashlights out and started. At that point, 2017, we had the Green Berets active duty, had one riding with me, and had a couple others in other cars. It was a pretty cool gig to have Green Berets down there. So the guy riding with me and we were trying to figure it out, and it seems like forever when you're broken down with the adrenaline going. I don't know, maybe 45 minutes, and we finally found the culprit. A 5-second fix, of course, 45 minutes later. Just a loose nut on the main power from the battery to everything else. So he tightened it up, fired it up, took off again. But a cool thing, the Camaraderie, Calvin Booth was our competition down there. There were only 2 of us racing JeepSpeed in the JeepSpeed class, and we got together beforehand, and it's like, hey, our goal is the same. We're just going to we want to finish this race, so we'll help each other out. And sure enough, when we're broken down in the middle of the night, he comes zipping by, recognizes it's us, backs up and says, hey, need any help? Chase truck is right behind me. Flag them down if you need it. So that was pretty cool. Just the support, the family, the camaraderie, the brotherhood has been a pretty cool thing to experience over the years. My first year racing, it was super exciting after being a race fan for over 20 years to finally co-own a car and get in a car and actually race. But it was equally awesome to have met the other racers in Western Colorado and at the races, being introduced to a lot of other folks my heroes or folks that I've admired over the years, kind of from the shadows, and being involved and being a racer, and the whole family and brotherhood has just been awesome and continues to be, especially in these limited classes. We all have the same shared passion of having fun and getting to the finish line, and we'll help each other out to do that. In 1982, that first race that I spectated, 1982 Mint 400, and opened up this whole new world to me. If somebody would have told me, "Hey, Mark, crystal ball shows you racing a Jeep and winning Baja and winning some other races," and I would have said, "Hey, best life ever." It was just never thought that I would get to this point of being able to race and being this involved in racing, but just made it happen with a lot of help from a lot of people, for sure. U.S. Action Tracks, Casey that operates that, owns it. A huge help over the years. We kind of help each other out, get in the races. And 2017 Baja 1000 that we ended up winning, we wouldn't have been there without his support. And he continues to be good support and be a fan of Fire Guys Racing and continue to have that friendship and cooperation. And it's been awesome. So that's kind of my story in brief, and I just want to keep racing as long as I can. And just 1700 JeepSpeed class has just been a lot of fun.
You just got to hear from one of our drivers, and if that resonates with you and you're interested in getting involved in JeepSpeed, then look us up, JeepSpeed.com. Love to hear from you. And if you're a driver out there wondering why your story's not being told or shared, it's because you haven't shared it with me. Make sure you get your videos out there, join our Facebook private racer group. You'll get all of that information. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Again, thank you for watching, and thank you for helping to make JeepSpeed great again.